Hello there, this is DBT, and these are the Vrooms. And alright, let's continue playing some more Asphalt 8. And today, we're gonna be testing, not this beauty, I just have it here for display because I love this car and I recently acquired it, so I'm happy to see it in my garage. No, but what I'm gonna be driving, it's two cars that I don't actually own in the game, but I get to test them at Pro rank because, oh yeah, YouTuber I guess, I don't know. Alright, so I'm gonna first do the car for the special event, the current special event, the Faraday Future FF91 2.0 Futurist. Now, I already made a video discussing the entirety of the special event, so if you want to see that, link should be appearing in the top right about now. And in that video, I actually tested the car for one race and gave you my thoughts on it. But as part of the content creator program, I have access to what is known as the YouTuber's Cup, in which I get to test the car in a variety of different tracks against the AI. Obviously, it's only against the AI, but I get to drive the car at Pro and, you know, well, listen to it, see how it drives and all of that stuff. So I'm gonna do a few of these races just to give you an idea of the car, because I've driven it a bit. As you can see, I already have done all of these races and I kind of have formulated my thoughts on this car. So still, let's jump into the first race and start this up. Oh, an electric SUV. All right. I said it in the previous video that I'm not particularly... I forgot to start with nitro. I did say that I'm not particularly excited about having another SUV in the game. We have a few. And there's the Lambo SUV and all of that, but not super... oh, look at that. Yeah, this thing cannot steer. I'm not huge on this thing, so... And then it's electric, so it's even worse for me. But anyway, that's very subjective opinion. But, alright. This thing, I did say in the previous video where I talked about it that I was wondering this was going to be the car to dethrone the Formula E Gen 2 in this bracket, the bracket of 1590. The Formula E Gen 2, it's a car that has been the king in that bracket for a very long time now, and there really hasn't been any car that can really dethrone it. That's kind of bad because the Formula E Gen 2, it's a very rare car that you can only acquire for a certain period of time in the game, and it has never ever once come back in offers in the game, so you cannot acquire that car at all. So that's why I've been wondering, is there going to be a car to dethrone it? And I was thinking that maybe this could be it, but now that I've driven it a bit more, oh boy, this thing is so unbelievably heavy. And by heavy, I mean that the handling, it's bad. Now that's not to make this car to say that the car is terrible. It is not, but you definitely need to be aware of this bad handling and, you know, do micro drifts and all of that as needed. For example, this time, well, every car needs to drift over here, but in general, this car, it's not agile. It's in the complete opposite side of the spectrum in terms of agility. So yeah, this definitely cannot compete in that sense with the Formula E Gen 2. But what I'm noticing of this car overall is that the nitro is very good. Now, you know that I don't do measurements of, oh, this nitro lasts 17.5 seconds, and no, I don't do that, nor with acceleration or anything. But the nitro, just by feeling alone, it definitely feels to be very good. Is it the best? I don't know, but it feels on the top tier for sure. Whether it's triple tap nitro or perfect nitro, I think especially perfect nitro feels like it lasts forever. So that is definitely an advantage, and from what I understand, the Formula E Gen doesn't have a straight up bad nitro, but it's nowhere comparable to the nitro on this thing. So that is, I believe, one advantage that this car has over the Formula E Gen 2. And just in case you're into this type of thing, I'm gonna do the whole triple tap right at the beginning to see how long it takes for the car to accelerate and all of that, but not really gonna do an analysis. I'm just gonna do it in case you want to pause and figure out when it got there. But yeah, I don't know, I think the other creators do this already, so it makes no sense for me to make another video, to have yet another video on this topic. So whatever, it's fine. But yes, I was saying the nitro on this thing definitely feels fantastic, and where I think the Formula E Gen is gonna be fantastic to oh Jesus Christ, for maybe TLEs, I would imagine that this in multiplayer could do very well precisely because of the long nitro duration. I think, well, the way that I focus it, and this is not to say that you can use it in other areas, but it seems to me that in multiplayer, acceleration is obviously always been super important, but that's pretty much in any mode. But when I compare multiplayer versus TLEs, I think it's more important in multiplayer to have better nitro than in TLEs, because in TLEs you have perfect control over what is happening, right? You get to pick all of the nitro bottles, so you pick the mode, you know how to manage your nitro and all of that stuff, you'll be fine. But multiplayer, where it's much more chaotic and you might just end up without any nitro bottles, having really good nitro can help out a lot, obviously, along with the acceleration, but I think the acceleration just works in either mode. So I would imagine that if anything, this car probably in multiplayer, so long as you can deal with the bad handling, you should be alright, simply because of this insane nitro duration that it just feels like it doesn't ever run out. Now, I don't think it's a straight up buzzer like, oh my god, this nitro is OP. But you know, for a car that is difficult to steer, having such a bad one stat, having another very good stat, is an interesting balance. So I don't necessarily hate this on principle. I just don't like the electric SUV idea. But anyway, that's neither here or there. And believe it or not, I have been changing the color of the car between races. I think only the first and second race was the same color, but from there onwards, I've been changing it. It's just that a lot of the colors in this vehicle are pretty much in the same color palette. So you can't really tell very well. Oh, you know what? Isn't this the track that they use for nitro duration? All right, let's test that out. Hold on. I think I've seen people do tests of nitro duration in this track. Because if you take the left side... All right, let's go triple tap and let's see how long it lasts. So I'm gonna avoid hitting any light poles or anything so as to not get extra nitro from that. And hit the wall on purpose to avoid getting a 16 point something seconds. I think that's all right. Now I'm gonna try with perfect nitro. Let's see if I can time it properly. First and second. All right, here we go. But yeah, I hit the walls to avoid getting the, what's it called? Perfect run? Because perfect run obviously gives you a bunch of nitro, but yeah. Now here's gonna be a problem because I don't think I'll be able to steer this enough. Steer, not stare, steer. Oh! And holy moly, 20, 21, 22. Jesus Christ, that's one long nitro. Holy moly. All right, I did say that I wasn't gonna do full-on tests, but I think this doesn't count. I'm just doing it for the sake of... Why did I go triple tap? I wanted to go single nitro. Ah, Jesus. I'm just curious to see how long the single nitro is gonna last. I mean, it obviously should last longer than the perfect nitro, but I just want to see how far it can take me. Oh, I hit one. Ah, man, I already messed up this test, huh? All right, fine, whatever. I mean, the amount of nitro that I got from that is so unbelievably small that I don't think it's gonna make too much of a difference. But look at that, I made it all the way over here and I haven't spent half of my nitro yet. And I need to hit a wall. Come on, there we go. Come on, don't hit anything. Ah, Jesus, well, another tiny bit, and there we go. Single nitro managed to get all the way here. Yeah, the nitro on this thing definitely seems very, very good. The perfect nitro is definitely what seems to be really extremely strong. Now, I'm not too much into telling you exactly, oh, the duration of 17.25 or 17.251, it's an actually top percentile. Nah, I have no idea. But again, in a very subjective manner of looking at it, it seems like it has really, really good nitro. So there is that. Heavy car, really good nitro. Electric SUV, I mean, make of that what you will. And for the last test, we're going into Terra 9 with a horrendous brown color on this car because, oh boy. But I'm gonna try to do this like a proper lap, you know, as if I was going at a TLE where I have to set a good time. That's not to say that I would be able to, but you know, I'm gonna try. Okay, managed to get that barely. Yeah, I'm telling you, the handling on this thing is definitely tough. You're not gonna have an easy time if you want to just ride this without doing a whole lot of drifting or micro drifting and all of that stuff. But it's definitely doable, and as you can see, punch drift can definitely take you into, well, take you to places. There we go, that's what I wanted to say. Take you to places. Because even if it doesn't drift amazing or doesn't steer or whatever, you can always use some punch drift and you'll be fine. Actually, I think in super old cars, punch drift isn't as amazing. The ones that drift horrible, even punch drift can't save you. But after cars have been rebalanced, and they get a more, what would I say, standardized performance, then yeah, punch drift should not be a problem. You can do it and just get through any tough corner or whatever. You should be fine. But yeah, you definitely need to practice that. So there we go. That is the Faraday, Jesus, what is it? Faraday FF91 2.0 Futurist? I think I got it right. See, I'm telling you, I think I'm learning it. When it comes to the looks of the thing, again, I'm not into SUVs, but I'm not gonna deny that it does look fancy, all right? I don't like this color that I chose for it, that's why I chose it, but I do believe that the vehicle looks fancy, and in terms of performance, I think so long as you understand that it's a heavy vehicle, but with insane nitro, you should be able to do all right. And why is the AI crashing so much? I don't know. But all right, that is a Faraday. But I said that we were gonna test another car, and that's what we'll do. And that is, of course, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 50th Anniversary Edition. Now, well, the Faraday, it's a very difficult car to acquire because it's a special event, you need so many cars and all of that. This, instead, is much easier to acquire if you're willing to just go pay to win, because you can just pay $10, get the racing pass, and instantly get this car. Well, you still need to do some races and all of that, but yeah. So, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 50th Anniversary. It's a Camaro, it looks like a Camaro, which means to me that it looks good. But I don't think anybody's gonna be like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But it's still American muscle and it looks mean and all of that stuff. So let's test it out, let's see what it can do. Now this is gonna be interesting, going from a very difficult to steer vehicle to this thing that I actually haven't tested at all at Pro. Well, the Faraday, I had played a little bit with it before I started recording. This car I haven't tested it at Pro. So I guess we're gonna find out if it feels good or bad or what. Alright, so first impressions, it's a car! Alright, this is the first place where I noticed that the Faraday was bad on the handling. But look at this thing can go all around this section without needing to drift. So that tells me that the handling, at the very least, it's alright. At the very least. Whether it's actually good or bad, it remains to be seen, but yeah, alright, first impressions, not bad. And another first impression is that the nitro doesn't seem to be just running out instantly, so that means it's not horrendous nitro, which is already good. I'm willing to say that this being at a rank of 1861, okay, I had to drift a little bit there because I was not gonna be able to do that turn. Maybe it's a little bit heavy, not as bad as, oh god, not as bad as the Faraday, but anyway. Oh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Ah, well done, DBT, well done. All right, first race. Oh yeah, the rank of 1861. No, excuse me, 1681, different, completely different class. Jesus Christ. I've explained this before, but I might as well repeat it, that every bracket, let's say the 1680 bracket, or yeah, 1680, that is the base level or the average performance of a car in theory, right? 1680. There's a plus and -2 situation going on where you might have that rank -2, which would make it 1658. Oh, Jesus Christ, 1678, and then you can have 79. Those are on the lower performance side, or you can have it at 1681 or 82, which is the upper side. This is on the upper side at 81. Oh my god, it's so difficult. I hate this because the bracket of 1680 gets me confused with the bracket of 1860. It's just, that's on me, that's on me. But anyway, so basically if it's 80, it can have -2, which make it 78 or 79. And those are in theory bad cars. 80 should be the average, and 81 and 82 should be the better cars. This is 81, which makes it in theory into a better car. Now, not all of the cases are just that black and white. There's cars with lower ranks that still perform insanely good, much better than other cars that are in theory in the upper bracket, or rather in the upper side of the bracket. But where does this fall? I have no idea, because the reality is that in order to determine the performance, the actual real world performance, you will need to test it in multiplayer. Because the way that I see it, we can do a bunch of measurements, and that will give us, objective measures of the performance of the car, right? Let me do the triple tap here, just in case you want to see it. That will give us objective measurements of the car, and that is fine. But there's something to be said about multiplayer, where obviously a good acceleration in multiplayer is going to give you an advantage right at the start and all of that. But as I was saying with the Faraday, there's different things to consider. In multiplayer, maybe it's more important to prioritize a car with good nitro, or maybe the recovery. There's a bunch of different things that you need to consider. So that is why, to me, just doing the straight up measurements of the cars and this is this much and this is that much and whatnot doesn't really tell me the whole thing. That's why I prefer to do tests when I do my pro tests and whatnot of cars that I do own in multiplayer. That's why I like doing that, because to me, personally, I'm not saying that anybody else's method is wrong or bad or anything, but for me personally, it's more interesting to see how the car will perform in a regular situation, regular circumstances where, oh, well, I'm gonna be matched against all of these cars. Because when you put a car in a vacuum, well, yeah, I mean, maybe this acceleration is okay, maybe it's better than average, but if you're in a bracket, well, all that gets is spammed is the incredible acceleration cars, then no matter what you get, you're gonna have a bad time. Or maybe, you know, there's a bunch of things to consider. That's why I always say that multiplayer is the best place to get a feeling of the car. And I understand why Gameloft hasn't done that just yet, but I think it would be very, very beneficial for the players to test the cars, to have a free tries in multiplayer. I think that's where this will be fantastic, so that you can test the car and, you know, yeah, have a little bit of a better idea how it performs. But anyway, let's get to another race. Now, that's not to sound ungrateful for the fact that we have free tries, and not maybe necessarily this one, because like I said, this one is specific to the content creators, but the fact that you can free try cars in general in TLEs nowadays, or in a special event for the case of the Faraday future, whatever, that is still a very good thing. At least we get to check the car at all. But yeah, I think test in multiplayer would be the better way to go. And I don't know. I mean, and honestly, I think that would also revive interest on the game a bit more. Because I understand, and look, I hate to bring Asphalt 9 into Asphalt 8 videos, but the one thing that I've always said that Asphalt 9 does very, very well. Oh, you know what? Isn't this that map? Yeah, this is the same one for the Nitro. Probably should do that. The thing about Asphalt 9 is that, for example, cars are incredibly difficult to acquire in that game. That is a given. And there's a bunch of cars that I like, but I would never. Ah, Jesus, I didn't mean to hit that. Well. That I would never actually get around testing because I will never acquire. They're so difficult to get. All right, there we go. That was a triple tap nitro. But because there's free tries in Asphalt 9, I actually get to see the car, listen to the car, appreciate the car, and maybe eventually I'm like, oh, you know what? I would like to get that. But even if I don't get to acquire it, the sole fact that there's free tries for me to drive a car that I would never normally be driving, that is enough for me to jump into that multiplayer and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play there for a while. Oh, I didn't mean to pick that up. I messed it up. It's fine. I guess you get an idea of how long it lasts, right? I hope so. Like there's insane cars like the Hennessy Venom F5 in that game, which is I think the fastest car in the entire game. I don't own it and I will probably not own it. But if there's a free try where I get to drive the car for a little bit, oh, you bet that I'm gonna take every single opportunity that I have. So that's what I was saying, that bringing multiplayer where you can test cars in this game, I think it will be pretty good. There we go, finally. Because it would be the same situation, and for newer players, it would be like, or maybe not necessarily just new players, but in general players, be like, oh wait, for this week I actually get to drive this car or any of these, I don't know, 5 cars or however many they want to add into a list. I get to drive all these cars that I don't have access to. That is basically the same concept as the weekend event, the weekend TLE. Where you get to drive Class S cars, but it would be great to have the cars that are relevant to the current week or the current season or whatever. For example, have a week where you get to drive the Faraday Futurist, whatever, against other cars of the same bracket, other people playing in other cars, or maybe the same car if they want to bring the same car, but have a variety of cars that you can pick. And then people get to drive those cars and see how they perform, or simply just enjoy cars that they don't own. I think that would engage people into going to multiplayer, because again, at the end of the day, while we can enjoy TLEs or Gauntlet and all that, I firmly believe that what keeps this game alive is just real-time multiplayer, to play with other people. So bringing something else that people can jump in and be excited about multiplayer to spice it up a little bit, I think that would be a fantastic thing. But all that being said, if you want to get a heart and a pin in this video, you know how it works. You need to leave in the key phrase, and that is going to be for today. Having free tries of new cars is always a good thing. So you know how this whole thing of the key phrase works, so there you go. But yeah, I do believe that still having those free tries in multiplayer will be the absolute best situation. But oh well, Gameloft, there's that idea for you. Maybe if you want to implement it, I do believe that a lot of people would be much more interested to come into the game and be like, oh wait a second, new car was released. Oh, and we get to drive it for a week for free. Let's go. And you know, people get to drive it, get to enjoy it, put some decent rewards in the multiplayer so that people want to continue playing it. And yeah, I think that's a win-win. People get to try the new cars, Gameloft get to have a bunch of people returning constantly to the game because there's new things to test even if they don't own it. And I think that's the best middle point, right? because Gameloft is not giving away things for free. They're not giving the car away for free. So if people want the car, well, you have to pay for it or do whatever it is that you need to do in order to get it. But people get to test it and they get to enjoy it. I think indeed that's the best win-win situation, and I really hope that Gameloft would implement this. And yeah, I don't know. Why don't you tell me in the comments if you would like to see something like that? Because in my opinion, that would be, again, a great way to do it. Just don't make it into a TLE. Make it into a multiplayer series, because TLEs are annoying that it's always the same map. So driving in the same map over and over, that's why I don't like so much the one on the weekends, because it's one single map, and for the entire weekend you just drive that one single map. I don't know. I like the variety. But that's gonna do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Hit the like button, all of that good stuff. Check these other videos that I did last week. A lot of Asphalt 8 last week, so check them out. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.